Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a girl you liked and thought, why does she see me as a friend and not as someone she wants? You did everything right. You were kind, you were there for her, you listened to her, you made her laugh, and yet, at the end of it all, she said those 4 words that destroyed you. I see you as a friend. I want to tell you something that most guys will never admit to themselves. The friend zone is not something that happens to you. It is something you build, brick by brick, conversation by conversation. You built it yourself, and you didn't even know it. For years, I watched guys around me fall into the same traps over and over again. And because I studied social dynamics seriously, I was able to notice patterns. I was able to see exactly at what moment a man loses the attraction of the woman in front of him and enters the zone of friendship. And today, I am going to show you those 8 traps. And more importantly, I am going to give you the exact lines you can use to get out of each one.
But before I do that, let me say one important thing. The friend zone is not a life sentence, it is a state, and states can be changed. If you understand what created the state in the first place, you can reverse it. That is exactly what this video is about. Trap 1, the therapist trap. This is probably the most common trap and the most dangerous one because it feels good while you are falling into it. She comes to you with her problems, she vents, she cries, you listen, you support her. You're therefore at 2 in the morning when she is sad about some other guy, and you think to yourself, surely she will realize one day that I am the right person for her. No, she will not.
Here is the brutal truth. When you become her emotional therapist, you stop being a potential romantic partner in her mind. The brain does not mix those 2 roles easily. You are either the person who gives her comfort, or you are the person who creates excitement. And excitement is what attraction is built on. The moment she starts treating you like her personal therapist is the moment you need to flip the dynamic. And here is how you do it.
The line. She says something like, "Ugh, I just have so much going on right now, I feel like no one gets it." You say, "I get it, but I have to be honest with you. I'm starting to realize that the more I listen to all of this, the more I think you need a therapist. And the more I talk to you, the more I think I want to be something else entirely." Then you pause. You let that land. Watch her reaction. She will either laugh nervously, go quiet, or ask you what you mean. Any of those reactions is good, because now she is no longer thinking of you as the safe comfort zone. She is thinking about what you just said.
Trap 2, the always available trap. You reply to her message in 30 seconds. You cancel plans to be there for her. You are available every single time she reaches out, and you think this is showing her that you care. What you are actually showing her is that you have nothing going on in your life that is more important than her. And ironically, that makes you less attractive. Attraction requires a little bit of distance, a little bit of mystery. When you are always available, you eliminate the tension, and tension is what creates desire. The line? She texts you, "Hey, are you free tonight?" Instead of saying yes immediately, you wait. And when you respond, you say, "Depends. What did you have in mind? I've got things going on, but I might be able to make something work." Notice what happened. You did not reject her, but you also did not jump. You positioned yourself as someone with a life, someone who is choosing to make time for her, not someone who has nothing better to do. That shift is everything.
Trap 3, the compliment machine trap. You tell her she is beautiful. You tell her she is amazing. You tell her she is unlike any girl you've ever met. And you do this constantly. You think this is what women want to hear. And yes, women like compliments, but not like this. When you compliment a girl too much, too early, too often, you communicate one thing. You communicate neediness. You communicate that you are trying to impress her. And the moment she feels you are trying to impress her, she knows she has all the power. And power imbalance kills attraction. A real compliment lands hard because it is rare and specific. It is not something you say to make her feel good. It is something that slips out because you genuinely noticed something. The line. Instead of, "You're so beautiful," you say, "You know what's annoying? The way you just said that. I was not expecting to actually be impressed right now." That line does 3 things at once. It compliments her, it shows you have standards, and it creates tension because now she wants to impress you more. That is the difference between a compliment that puts you in the friend zone and a compliment that creates attraction.
Trap 4, the no boundaries trap. She flirts with other guys in front of you. She talks about other men she finds attractive. She treats you like one of her girlfriends. And you sit there and you take it. You smile, you nod, you maybe even give her advice on the other guys she is interested in. Every time you do this, you are communicating that you have no standards, that you will accept any role she gives you. And people, especially women, do not feel attraction for people who have no standards. They feel attraction for people who know their worth. The line. She starts telling you about some guy she met. "Oh my God, I met this guy last night and he was so..." You cut in, not rudely, but confidently. "Hold on, why are you telling me this?" She will be confused. She will say, "What do you mean?" You say, "I just find it a little strange that you're sitting here telling me about another guy. I'm not your girlfriend." And then you smile slightly and change the subject. You do not make a big deal of it.
You just made it clear that you have a position, that you are not a neutral party, that you are not one of her friends. That is enough.
Trap 5. The indirect guy trap. You like her, but you never say it. You are interested, but you never show it directly. You hint. You hope. You wait for the perfect moment that never comes. And while you are waiting, she is moving on with someone else who was direct. Indirectness is the language of the friend zone. Directness is the language of attraction. Women do not want to decode your feelings. They want to feel your confidence. And confidence is most visible when you are willing to be direct, even at the risk of rejection. The line? After a good conversation, instead of the usual friendly goodbye, you say, I want to be straight with you. I find you genuinely interesting, and I'd like to take you out sometime. Not as friends. That last part is important. Not as friends. You are drawing a line. You are making your intentions clear. She may say yes, she may say no, but either way, you did not waste months in the friend zone hoping she would figure it out on her own.
Trap 6. The safe topics trap. You talk to her about movies, about work, about mutual friends, about food, about travel. Safe topics, comfortable topics, topics that will never make her heart beat faster. And you wonder why the conversation always feels like it is going nowhere. Safe conversations create safe feelings, and safe feelings do not turn into desire. If you want her to feel something when she talks to you, you need to make the conversation feel slightly dangerous. Not offensive, not inappropriate, but alive. The kind of conversation where something real could happen. The line. You are in the middle of a safe conversation, and you say, can I ask you something that's maybe a little too honest? She will almost always say yes, because people are curious. And then you say something real, something that shows you are actually paying attention to her. Something like, I've been sitting here for the last 20 minutes thinking that you are more interesting than you're letting on, and I'm trying to figure out if that's intentional. Now the conversation is no longer safe. Now she is thinking. Now something is happening.
Trap 7. The good listener who never leads. Trap. You ask questions, you listen carefully, you remember details she told you weeks ago. You are engaged, you are present, and all of that is good. But you never lead, you never decide, you never take charge of where the conversation or the night is going. You just respond, you just react. As I explained in the last video, leadership is the foundation of attraction. When you are the one who leads, the brain of the person in front of you classifies you as someone of value. But when you only listen and never lead, you become a very good audience. And the audience is never the main character. The line. She says, I don't know, what do you want to do? Instead of saying whatever you want or I don't mind, which is what most guys say, you say, we're going to do this, follow me. You do not ask, you decide, and then you move. You lead her into the next moment. That shift from passive to active is one of the fastest ways to change how she sees you.
Trap 8, the slow fade trap. This one is the most painful because it happens over a long time. You have been friends for months, everything has been comfortable, and at some point you realize that the window is closed. The dynamic is set. She sees you as a friend, and that is that. Most men at this point give up. They either stay in the friend zone and suffer quietly, or they disappear. But there is a third option. You can destabilize the pattern. You can say something that reshuffles the entire dynamic. The line. One day, out of nowhere, you say this. Can I tell you something I probably shouldn't say? She says yes. I think we've been doing this friendship thing wrong. Or at least I have. Because somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing you as just a friend. And I never said anything because I didn't want to ruin it. And I still don't want to ruin it. But I also think I've been lying to both of us. Then you stop. You do not over-explain. You let the silence work for you. That line does not always work, but it is the only honest shot you have. And even if it does not go the way you want, you will have respected yourself enough to be honest. And that matters more than staying comfortable in a situation that was already costing you.
Here is the rule I want you to walk away with today. The friend zone is not created by kindness, it is created by the absence of polarity. Polarity is what separates a friend from someone she wants, and polarity requires two things, comfort and tension. Just like I told you in the last video. If you have all comfort and no tension, you are a friend. If you have all tension and no comfort, you are someone she avoids. But when you learn to hold both at the same time, when she feels safe with you and excited by you simultaneously, that is when everything changes. Each of the 8 traps I showed you today is a trap because it destroys one side of that balance. The therapist trap, the always available trap, the compliment machine, they all create too much comfort and kill the tension. And that is exactly how a man who is genuinely good ends up watching the girl he wanted choose someone else. You now know the traps, you now have the lines. What you do with that is up to you. If you want to go even deeper into this and understand from zero how to build the kind of presence and confidence that naturally creates attraction, check out my course in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This was Mr. Valentino. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.